Welcome to the Ice Guys, presented by the Hockey Podcast Network, Wednesday, March 23rd. Calm before the storm for yours truly, Ian Cameron. Hours before we take flight for San Antonio, Texas, for the next week. Looking forward to that, but we got business to take care of. Our daily Ice Guys show for a Wednesday. Alex B. Smith along with me as well. Just a reminder that, hey, people say that sometimes I'm doing too many shows every day, too many videos, that I talk too much, which is true. All of that is true sometimes. I wouldn't argue with that. So here's your chance the next 2 days on the Ice Guys, Thursday and Friday. I will not be on the show. It'll be Alex and Andrew tomorrow. Andrew for sure on Friday. And they've got you covered, and they've got my back here for these next 2 days where I will be off the show. So if you want to see an Ian Cameron free zone here on the Ice Guys, you're going to get it for the next 2 days on the show. So the show must go on, though. So we'll still be here for you. Alex, Andrew breaking down the card Thursday, Friday. Jimmy's dealing with some things off, away from the job personally right now. So if he's able to join, he will as well. On Thursday and Friday. So they've got you covered. The show will go on, even though I will not be here Thursday and Friday. Looking forward to this trip. Looking forward to being in the house for the Sweet 16 tomorrow. Michigan, Villanova, Houston, Arizona. 2 terrific games in that venue in the South region in the Sweet 16. So definitely excited for this trip. And, first time actually traveling outside anywhere, especially outside the country since the pandemic. So, I'm more than ready to get away and have a little 1 week sojourn away from home for sure. Alex, it was another successful, enjoyable betcast last night. Lots of fun, and always looking forward to those every Tuesday night the rest of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, it was another great time, and we were able to turn some profits. It's just and just fun, especially like I said, we've had 3 in a row now where it's been multiple nights with 11 games, 10 or 11 games on the schedule. So like I said, if you guys haven't joined us yet for one of these, every Tuesdays. We'll have them, and they've been, like I said, very profitable and really enjoyable so far.
Yep, they have. And last night, up and down with the live bets, to be quite honest. Actually, it was not a bad night for the pregame bets, especially with Seattle and the Nashville-LA over, both cashing in the late games. That really helped me out a bit, especially because Calgary stuck on 3 goals and couldn't get me that 4th goal for their team total, in a stunning loss to San Jose last night, 4-3. James Reimer turned into Jimmy Brodeur, Jimmy Fuhr, Jimmy Perrant, whatever you want to call it, late in that game. What James Reimer did was unreal. I mean, some of the saves he made with that game at 4-3 and total robbery of the Calgary Flames. Daryl Sutter, by the way, was livid with Markstrom didn't have a great game. He bobbled the puck a few times. There's a couple goals he should have stopped. It was not Jacob Markstrom's best game. Daryl Sutter was so pissed about his goaltender last night that he forced Jason LaBarbera, his goalie coach, to go out and answer the media in the post-game press conference. Daryl Sutter didn't show up. He said, "This is on you and your guy. You talk to the media." After the game. And so the goalie coach, Jason LaBarbera, is having to talk to the media after the game last night. Pretty funny shit.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and that like I said, him that's his way of sending a message, kind of an old school thing to do. But maybe we'll see a much sharper effort from Markstrom in his next start because of that.
I think that's probably a good assumption. I think you'll probably see him play a lot better, definitely. But last night, interesting games. I guess the stunner was the Devils just walloping the Rangers. Things fell. We were on the betcast. Even Alex was on at the time still at that moment. And New Jersey the Rangers just crumbled in the second period. It was an ugly second period for them. They ended up losing that game 7-4. Pittsburgh dominates Columbus 5-1. St. Louis with a 5-2 win against Washington, much needed for the Blues, who've been slumping. Carolina, great game against Tampa, had a little bit of everything, good goaltending, some nice goals that were scored, and some nastiness as well. Both teams were lined up jaw-jacking at the end of that game. 3-2, Carolina getting the win there. Detroit beats Philly 6-3. Islanders shut out Ottawa 3-0. Disappointing because I thought Ottawa would do better than that. Winnipeg continues to send Vegas down the free fall when the road woes continue for the Golden Knights. They get shut out 4-0. Dallas comes back to beat Edmonton 5-3. 2 gut-wrenching losses in a row for the Oilers. Played well enough in both games to win, the Colorado game and the Dallas game, and they just fall short. Frustrating because they did a lot of good things, and they have 1 out of 4 points to show for it in those 2 games. San Jose with the comeback against Calgary. Seattle beats Arizona 4-2. And the LA Kings, I told you I was worried about Nashville last night, Alex, with the David Riddick in net. Yeah. Back-to-back on the road. LA's been rested since Saturday when they got thumped in Vegas 5-1. by the Golden Knights. I said this just sets up as a prime spot for LA. Doesn't mean they're going to win, but I think you're going to get their best. Maybe Asheville not at their best, and that's precisely what happened. LA with a 6-1 win there. Alex, some overall observations from last night.
Yeah, like I said, that was just stunning to see how the Rangers lost to New Jersey. Except we were on the air, and they just, it was like one moment after another. It was, New Jersey scored. They scored again. It was like, I think it was a span of 3 goals in maybe like 5 minutes in real time that they had, and they just kind of put them away. And like I said, the LA Kings, I mean, they keep rolling right now. It's a big win to get against a Nashville team, 6-1. And, trying to solidify that spot. And, if they can get now, like I said, we talked about the Pacific Division, how tough that's going to be down the stretch. But right now they're sitting in a good spot. Obviously, more than likely not going to win that division. But if they can get number 2 seed and get home ice in the first round, right now they would be playing Edmonton if the season ended today. So that's really big for them. I think they're a team that can make some noise. We talked about that, early in the year, how I thought they might be a team just kind of hang around in the wild card battle. But now they look like a firm playoff team for sure. And big wins like that definitely help them. Obviously, Tampa Bay and Carolina, that was also interesting too, except the things that were happening at the end of the game, a lot of pushing and shoving and talking back and forth. And sure enough, those 2 teams are going to play next Tuesday. So they definitely might want to, we'll be watching that all together on the Betcast that in Tampa Bay, the rematch for that. And that's the last time those 2 teams meet in the regular season as well. So looking forward to that. And it's just, this is the time of year where, you have that playoff type feel with a lot of these matchups night in and night out. Doesn't always mean that they're worth betting. Like I said, we still have to kind of comb through and find the best value in these plays. But there's a lot of games that even if you don't have bets on them, they still would be fun to watch because of what the implications mean in the standings moving forward.
No doubt about that. Now we're keeping a track on these totals as well. Post-trade deadline. We had 3-1 under, by the way, Monday night. Monday night right after the trade deadline. So started to see more unders. Now last night, you tabulate everything. I'm just looking at it now: 3-2, 3-3, 3-4, 4-4, 5-4, 6. So we actually had an overnight last night, slightly 6-4-1 over the total last night in the 11 games. So again, we had the under night on Monday. The only game that went over was Nashville-Anaheim. Last night, we had a 6-4-1 to the over. So, again, we're going to track this because I said I thought we're going to see maybe a little tighter checking hockey outside of the trade deadline. The problem with my theory is I don't know if we're going to see a lot of tight checking tonight because I actually think there could be some goals on the horizon in a lot of these games that are on the 4-game Wednesday night card tonight. So, definitely something to keep in mind. So let's get into it. We'll start with the New Jersey Devils taking on the Toronto Maple Leafs. We've got Toronto minus 300. Home favorites in this game, total 7 now across the board, shaded to the under. And I pretty much knew right away that if I'm going to bet this, I've got to get in on it quickly. And that's exactly what I did. I certainly, at around 8 a.m. this morning or so, just when I got up, I saw the number climbing. I didn't even get it when it was minus 105, minus 110, which is where it was at one point. The juice on the 6.5 quickly shot up to about minus 125, which is when I bet it. Over 6.5, minus 125 with Toronto, New Jersey. And now it's 7 across the board. You pretty much can't find a 6.5 anywhere right now. And you can understand why that is. You've got, obviously, New Jersey has been an over machine. They were again last night, although last night they scored a bunch. Not only did they give up their regular allotment of goals, but they actually scored a bunch, exploded in the second period against obviously a good Ranger team and one of the best goalies in the NHL. Made them look silly when not many teams have done that against Shesterkin this year. But credit to the Devils, that 7-4 win. They've gone over in 4 straight games. Of course, Toronto has been trending over at a 6-2 clip in their last 8 games because of defensive struggles and because of the fact that their goaltending's kind of been up and down, especially when it's been the guy that's in net tonight for the Leafs who's been starting, and that's Peter Mrazek, who's actually going to get the start tonight for the Leafs in this game. Now, Sheldon Keefe says he's looked great in practice, and that's nice to hear that. That's okay, fine, but can we see it now in a game? Can we see it now in a game, Peter Mrazek playing well? And that's going to end up being the big question here. I do think the Leafs could end up having some undervalue in the next, week or so, 2 weeks, because I think at some point, I just don't know if it's tonight, because New Jersey's just playing overs galore. They push the pace. They can score goals, which Hughes and Bratt and Sharon Govich and guys like that have shown you. They can put the puck in the net. And the Leafs may improve defensively at a point, but they're still without Muzzin. He's not going to be back till probably next week. Yes, Giordano is going to make his Leaf debut, Alex, but you know well that you're assimilating yourself to a brand new team. Sometimes that first game doesn't go smoothly. It might take a game or two for him to feel comfortable on the blue line there for the Leafs. And more than anything, I think you're going to get a situation where Mrazek's a big fat question mark right now. How's he going to play? I know he's motivated. He's been motivated for weeks to play well. Has he played well? No. He's motivated again tonight because, look, he's put on waivers. That's a blow to your pride a little bit as a professional. The team puts you on waivers, and he cleared waivers. He's back now. Sateri ends up getting claimed by Arizona when maybe he was going to be the guy with Shalgren now. So instead, it's Mrazek back with Shalgren, and they're going to give him the start because Keefe says he looks intense. He looks focused. He's looked good in practice, very good, and he's going to give him a shot here tonight against New Jersey. But you got to translate practice and you got to translate motivation and the want to play well to actually playing well. That's what you got to do now if you're Peter Mrazek. So that's the big question mark. As far as New Jersey goes, I still don't trust their goaltending. Doesn't matter who's in net. Nico Dawes, John Gillies, either or. It probably will be Gillies, I would think, tonight, because Dawes was in last night, but it hasn't been confirmed yet, so we're just waiting on that. Either way, I'm going to stick to the script here, over 6.5, which I bet at -125. Now that it's 7, I don't know if you want to get involved now. This is an Alex recommendation for me now, with the total being at 7. If you didn't bet it yet, wait for a live in-game opportunity. It's probably the best way to go about it. I'm also going to take a small shot here, Alex, on Toronto in the first period with the puck line here. Just because I think there's things that point to them maybe having a nice start. They lost to Nashville their last game. They're very rested. New Jersey's on a back-to-back off a big win against a rival, the Rangers. Maybe a chance for the Leafs to pounce early. Get a goal, get Mrazek feeling comfortable, give him a lead early in the game. So I don't mind that look situationally at all to look Toronto -0.5, +110 first period puck line here in this game tonight. Alex, what do you think here, Devils, Leafs?
Yeah, well, you pretty much alluded to it. The only way I would be looking at playing this game would be live. I like the first period over, and I like the full game over, but you got to try and get better prices. And the thing that's kind of scary with these two teams is the way that the defense is going and the goaltending, that you may not even have enough time to get anything in. This could be a game where we see a goal in the first maybe minute or two. So it's more than likely going to be one that stays off of my card, but that's the way I'm going to at least approach it. I don't like anything pregame. I want to try and get something in live, but I'm not sure if this is one where if I want to get that first period over, I might have to lay 140, 135, which is perfectly fine. Seeing right now one book had 1.5 -$2. So if I can get $1.40, that's not my ideal range, but that's definitely worth enough, because I think we could see a lot of goals here early and often. So try to attack this game live is the way I recommend it.
Yeah, exactly. Vito in the chat. Yeah, I don't mind Vito, what he's talking about here. First period, both teams to score. Plus, this definitely feels like a game where both teams could find that back of the net in that opening period. And New Jersey's been, not last night, because the 2 goals that were scored in the first period were both Ranger goals,
right?
2-0. But this could be a game where that both teams to score first period is live. I might throw a little bit on that as well. It makes sense because the one thing with New Jersey on that road trip, every game, both teams found the back of the net in the opening period. And I think you might have a chance to see something similar here tonight as well at that +130 price. All right, next up, we've got Pittsburgh and Buffalo. Pittsburgh Penguins -230, rather, road favorites, 6 the total in this game. Pittsburgh clubbing Columbus last night, 5-1. I just wish Columbus could have given me one more goal, because we fell short with over in that game for the full game. Did get there with Pittsburgh's team total, though, over 4.5. And had an opportunity to take Pittsburgh over 2.5 at one point in that game, believe it or not, or 3.5 rather, in terms of their team total. And sure enough, it actually did drop to 2.5, and also the live over for the full game, and missed out. And sure enough, the 2 goals happened in quick succession for the Penguins, and we missed our opportunity. And that's what happens. We talked about it on the Betcast last night. Timing is everything. Sometimes with this live betting. But how does Pittsburgh fare tonight? Back-to-back now for them. Against a rested Buffalo Sabres team, although Buffalo is coming off the West Coast trip, so it's not exactly the best situation or scheduling spot for them. The good news is they've had 2 days after coming back home from Vancouver, where they ended that road trip in very, very good fashion. 3-2 overtime win against Vancouver, following up a 1-0 shutout win against Calgary. So you got to give this Sabres team credit. Alex, they're 4-1 in their last 5 games. I mean, you got to give the Sabres their due right now. They're playing better hockey. They beat Toronto. They beat Vegas at home. Their only one bad game was in Edmonton, 6-1, and they beat Calgary and Vancouver to end that road trip. Craig Anderson in net has been decent for them. He's been steady for them going into this game, which has been good to see. We'll see if it carries over to tonight. It is worth noting John Hayden's going through COVID protocol, so he's going to miss a little bit of time right now for the Buffalo Sabres. That's something to bear in mind going into this game. As far as the Penguins are concerned, 5-1 win last night. We'll see if they can follow it up here on the second of back-to-back games. They have a 4-4 record, 500 this year on the second night of back-to-back games. We're probably going to see DeSmith, not confirmed yet, I don't believe, but I would expect we're probably going to see DeSmith get the nod here for the Penguins. It's already been confirmed Anderson in net for the Sabres tonight in this game. As far as Buffalo props, I've talked about Tuck Skinner and Thompson a lot. Peyton Krebs, don't sleep on him because he's starting to chip in a little bit offensively as well. If it is Casey DeSmith in net, I could make a case here for over 6, which is the lean right now, but I'm waiting on this confirmation here for Casey DeSmith in net. I also think, based on this spot for Pittsburgh, you look at it, the big win against Columbus. You're playing Buffalo tonight. Friday night, you got a huge game against the Rangers, and the Rangers and the Penguins are battling it out for second in the Metro Division right now. They're neck and neck. This could be one of those games where Buffalo's potentially live, even with them coming off a road trip. So something that I would maybe be looking at here in this Buffalo-Pittsburgh game tonight, when I view these lines, is the soccer style bet. I've mentioned this before here on the show. The draw double chance, it's around plus 100 to get Buffalo draw double chance, which means if Buffalo wins the game at all, it cashes. But if Buffalo loses in overtime or a shootout, and it goes beyond regulation, it would cash as well. It's basically Buffalo or draw plus 100. I think that's worth a small bet here. I really do. I think this is a game where they can compete with Pittsburgh. It's Pittsburgh on a back-to-back, a big game coming up with the Rangers. I think that Buffalo draw double chance plus 100, which means if Buffalo wins the game at all, you cash it. Buffalo loses in overtime or a shootout, you cash it. The only way you lose is if Buffalo loses in regulation. That's the only way that bet doesn't get to the win column for you. I think that's a solid way to maybe approach this game tonight, because I don't think it's a grade A spot for the Penguins, and they got the backup Casey DeSmith in net as well. So that's the way I'm probably going to look toward this game here. Alex, what do you think, Pittsburgh-Buffalo?
So this one I'm taking a different approach with. Still going to be looking for a live wager, but I'm hoping for a goal early in this contest, and then I want to actually go under. So I'd like to get a goal in the first 5 minutes and go under like a 7.5 potentially. Because this is, even though with Casey DeSmith more than likely getting the start here, I feel like that this would be his turn in the rotation. I just don't think this is going to be a super high scoring game. Looking at Pittsburgh, they've gone under 8 of their last 9 road games. Like I said, Buffalo, they've played well, but they can kind of be up and down. Especially like I said, they've had a couple of days off. Can they get that offense just rolling right out of the gate again? And Anderson has been playing fairly well, so this definitely has the feel of a game that could be 3-2, 3-1. Like I said, but Buffalo could be live in this because of Pittsburgh's the second night of back-to-backs, and then they got another big game as mentioned with the Rangers on deck. Sometimes teams get caught in these spots, so it kind of does feel like a bit of a trap spot for the Penguins. So I'm going to be looking for a live under. I wouldn't talk anybody out of under 6 right now, to be honest. But I just feel that'd be a little bit safer. You get a better number, maybe not necessarily a better price, going with the under here in this one.
Yeah, and the live under definitely could get there. I could see that. And by the way, Buffalo, even amount of home wins as road wins, so no big difference there. Pittsburgh a little weaker on the road. I mean, they still have a 18 and 14 record. Actually, the road record, for Pittsburgh is actually quite good, 21-11 this year on the road. But I do want to point out that they do have the Ranger game coming up, and Buffalo's just been fighting their way in every game, essentially. They had one bad game where they got whipped against Edmonton. Other than that, they've either won or they've been right there in every game recently. So I think you could do worse than maybe a flyer here on the Sabres. But I like for a little security at plus 100 that draw double chance on Buffalo here in this one. All right, Vancouver, Colorado. We've got Colorado minus 270 home favorites in this game, 6 the total across the board. Actually moving to 6.5 now as we speak. It's actually pretty much 6.5 now that this total has moved to in this game. And the reaction is clearly because Yaroslav Halak confirmed in net for the Canucks. And there's definitely an anti-Halak sentiment right now in the betting markets. Although he has had a couple of good games this year, it's just lately it's been more of a struggle for him. And Jimmy Murphy's been outspoken on our show that Halak sometimes doesn't ingratiate him, at least not in Boston. We don't want to assume that that's happening in Vancouver too, but apparently Yaroslav Halak is not exactly a guy that's always thrilled with being put in these bad situations to start games. Well, you're a backup goalie, guy. I mean, that's the way it works when you're a backup. You're going to be given back-to-backs. You're going to be given bad spots to have to start in between the pipes. It's just the way it is. Now, he did come in for relief of Demko in the Saturday game against Calgary, the 5-2 game. He gave up 1 goal on 15 shots there. The last game he started for the Vancouver Canucks was about as ugly as you could ask. New Jersey back on February 28th in Jersey, 6 goals on 14 shots allowed by Jaro Halak in that game. Prior to that against Anaheim, he actually was in a relief of Demko there. The start before that was the game where he gave up 5 goals to the New York Islanders, got pulled in that one. Actually, when I look back at it, he came in relief for Demko against Anaheim. He entered the game in relief of Demko for Calgary. Last two games he's actually started. He gave up the 6 to New Jersey and the 5 to the Islanders. So that is where you become concerned here with Yaroslav Halak tonight in this game. Colorado, I'll tell you what, they got a great effort from Edmonton. Certainly pushed the Avalanche in that game, but the Avalanche found a way to get the win 3-2 in overtime against the Oilers. Their 4th win in a row, which has been good to see. They're starting to rev it up again. And boy, I like the look of what they did at the trade deadline as well. Bringing in Josh Manson along the blue line. I thought they had a pretty solid trade deadline overall, just trying to make an already pretty strong team even stronger. And they definitely worked to do that, bringing in, obviously, Josh Manson to solidify that blue line right before the trade deadline. So, this is definitely a dangerous hockey team playing extremely well right now, even with Landeskog out, and they bring in Arturi Lehkonen, who is day-to-day, by the way. He's got a little bit of an injury situation, and is actually, it looks like right now in this game, he's also dealing with some, going across the border, some issues with that. So will we see Lehkonen make his Colorado debut after that Montreal trade? We'll have to wait and see. I like the angle of betting on the player from a prop standpoint when he's playing his first game for a team. So if Lehkonen's in, we might look at Lehkonen props tonight for Colorado in this game. The way I'd play it is probably Colorado team total over 3.5 minus 130. I'd rather do that because I could see, I don't want to fall into this Pittsburgh-Columbus situation again like last night where maybe I should have gone only team total instead of full game over. I'm worried about a 4-1, 5-1 game here. That's the concern here if you're going to bet the full game over, because I don't know if Vancouver is going to light up the scoreboard themselves against a Colorado team that is playing good defense, is tightening things up when they get a lead. They're not going after more goals when they get a lead. They're trying to tighten it up. So I would look at more of a Colorado team total over 3.5 minus 130 rather than the full game over, because I just don't know if we're going to get contributions for the Canucks here to help you with that full game over in this game. So that's the way I'd play it, would be Colorado team total over 3.5 here at minus 130. What do you think, Alex? Canucks Avalanche?
Yeah, we were talking about this before we went on air, and we were kind of thinking the exact same thing. Colorado team total over makes a ton of sense because they've been trending to the under as of late. The team, because of, like I said, how well they've been playing defensively, where Vancouver has been all over fest for them, and they've been giving up goals in those spots where they're losing. So it's a great value price. If you like Colorado, you're not going to, instead of laying 270 for them to win the game, they should more likely get at least 4 goals to win this one. So go and lay the $1.30. That's exactly what I'm going to do.
Yeah, it is an over series history. I will say that. If you like the full game over, I mean, we've seen 5-4, 6-3, 7-1, 4-2. The last game was 4-2, though. That wouldn't get the job done now that the total's 6.5. So keep that in mind. But I prefer the team total for sure in this game. And keep an eye on Lehkonen and his status if he plays. Yeah, for Vancouver, I mean, they're falling out of the playoff mix. I mean, This run of them has pretty much put them right behind the 8 ball in terms of trying to make the playoffs and get back into the race. They're just 1-5 in their last 6 games, and not going to get any easier for the struggling Vancouver Canucks tonight, taking on the Colorado Avalanche. All right, final game of this Wednesday card: Chicago Blackhawks, Anaheim Ducks. This is the second game of your TNT doubleheader tonight. Pittsburgh Buffalo, by the way, is the first game. We've got Anaheim minus 125, home favorites here, 6 the total in this one. I like this game over the total, definitely. You look at Anaheim. Anaheim's going to give up goals, period. Them in San Jose, with some of the key defensemen that are not only good defensemen, Alex, but they're good in their own end. They defend the front of the net. They wipe people out in front of the net, so there's no rebound opportunities. They clear the front of the net. They're in good positioning. They have active sticks. And when I'm talking about Anaheim, I'm talking about Josh Manson, and I'm talking about Hampus Lindholm, 2 guys that were traded out of town before the deadline. Manson to Colorado, Lindholm to Boston. You look at Anaheim in 1 game post-trade deadline, Alex, without those 2 defensemen, and now just a boatload of depth concerns on the back end now for Anaheim. They gave up a 6th spot to the Nashville Predators. And I think that you're going to see more of that to come from this Anaheim team. I mean, they just don't have the quality depth waiting in reserve to replace the minutes, to replace the ability in the defensive zone that both Manson and Lindholm brought to this team. And I think you saw it clear as day Monday night against Nashville. Couldn't defend properly, breaking down left and right. They give up 6 goals. And what makes matters worse for Anaheim defensively is that they've got a goalie that's struggling right now in John Gibson as well. I mean, it's not a good time for the defense to be depleted, shorthanded, and full of inexperience, especially on that third pair when you've got John Gibson obviously battling confidence issues for the last month. That becomes an issue for Anaheim. So I think Chicago can definitely find their way to scoring some goals tonight. However, on the flip side, Chicago is going to give up goals as well. I mean, they're definitely not in a great position to be trusted at the defensive end of the ice right now. They just gave up 6 in a loss to the Jets on Sunday night, 6-4. We know that goaltending, now that Marc-Andre Fleury has been traded away, goaltending is going to be a question mark area the rest of the season. Lankinen was great in his last start that we saw him against Minnesota. He actually played very well on Saturday afternoon in that game, but that was just his first good start in a very, very long time. He's going to have to show that he can do it consistently. And Colin Delia has been called up right now for Chicago to be his backup, and his numbers in the AHL level aren't great this year. You look at the blue line still, you've got concerns there a little bit as well with the way they've played up front. They miss Connor Murphy dearly. He's on IR right now for the Blackhawks. So I think Anaheim's capable of lighting the lamp as well. They did score 3 against Nashville the other night, and you still have to worry about some players that are very offensively capable for Anaheim in terms of, Troy Terry, Trevor Zegras, Derek Grant. He might be someone to look at from a goal-scoring prop standpoint because they've elevated him to a second-line spot for this team. And sure enough, what's he done now all of a sudden? 2 goals against Nashville, 2 points, and 3 points in the last 3 games. So he's gotten a bump up the lineup. He's a veteran player. He's 31 years old. He's not a young guy, but boy, he's capitalizing on the added minutes and moving up the lineup for the Ducks. Derek Grant might be a good player prop value for the Ducks tonight in this game. And obviously, I'm never going to say don't bet Zegras Terry props. They're always live to score for this Anaheim team every game they play. So I like over here, over 6 at around minus 110. Alex, what do you think, Chicago, Anaheim?
It's interesting because you look at the bare numbers. Chicago's won the last 6 meetings against Anaheim, and you go back to March 8th. And Chicago absolutely put the screws to Anaheim at home, 8-3. Got off to a hot start and just kind of never looked back. But that's kind of been the start of where Anaheim has spiraled since then. They've lost 7 straight. And coming back home, I think that this is going to be kind of a revenge-minded game. Anaheim's pretty much, seems to be falling out of the playoff race, with every loss that they've suffered right now. They need something to kind of, turn them around. And I think this is actually a spot I would have liked to have gotten it, close to a pick and price, but I laid $1.20 here with Anaheim. I think Chicago, I think now with Fleury gone and keep in mind the last, few games that he played with the Hawks, he stood on his head and gave them chances to win. And, we saw it a couple of games where he took, they go into overtime, they end up losing against Boston. Go back, a month ago, that game against Dallas, there was no score until the shootout, and they end up losing that game. But Fleury, put on a masterpiece, and now he's gone. It's the Kevin Lankinen and the Colin Delia show. things are going to get really ugly for the Hawks moving forward. In my opinion, it's the start of a road trip. 3 games in the next four nights. I think this is going to be some spots here to fade the Hawks in this West Coast trip, and I think it started here with backing Anaheim.
Tell you what, this is actually not another thing that might help you if you like Anaheim, like Alex does. Anaheim just played Chicago recently. We were on the betcast for that, and it was 8-3 for Chicago in that game. They absolutely put the boots to Anaheim that night. And even though Anaheim's not playing well and falling out of the playoff race, you got to think back in their minds. They know the last time they played Chicago was about as ugly as it could get for them. And that might be a little inspiration tonight for this Ducks team as they get the return match against the Blackhawks tonight at home. As far as Blackhawks props, Dylan Strome's always someone you got to consider. There's no question about that. He's been pretty good lately, lighting it up for the Blackhawks. We've seen, even Caleb Jones has stepped up from the back end. DeBrincat, Kane, Taves, they're all candidates, especially in a game where I think Anaheim's going to give up goals. But don't sleep on Taylor Radish as well. He's going to get an opportunity with this team. He's got some skill. He's got some ability. Don't be fooled by the fact he could barely crack Tampa Bay's lineup. Tampa Bay's loaded. That's probably why he couldn't crack that lineup all that well. But he's going to get opportunity here with Chicago. And they're putting him with Kubalik and Taves right now on that second line. So that's value right there. He's just getting into the team. You can find good numbers for register a point or score a goal on Taylor Radish. He's going to get on that second line. That's the kind of thing, kind of like what we just talked about with Derek Grant for Anaheim. These are guys that are going to be moved up the lineup, get an opportunity, and as a result, they are undervalued in terms of their player props, in my opinion. So definitely some things to consider there. But do you like was that part of your thinking too, Alex, with the Anaheim bet that, hey, they lost 8-3 Chicago? That's going to be something maybe they remember tonight.
But yeah, between that and just like I said, it's kind of a beginning of a fade on the Hawks as well. Those two things together, that's what I said. I like the Anaheim. I was hoping, like I said, for $1.10, but you could still find $1.20 in some spots. That's what I ended up playing. So.
Yeah, definitely. We'll see if Anaheim gets some redemption, because you're right. We were on the betcast that night.
Yeah.
That was oogly with the way they played that night against Chicago. So we'll see if they maybe make amends for that. Great stuff. That's the Thursday card. We appreciate everybody joining us on YouTube. Hit the like button if you haven't done so already. And make sure you check out DraftKings Sportsbook, official sports betting partner of the NHL, and great sponsors here with us here at the Hockey Podcast Network, and of course the Ice Guys as well. A really good book to bet NHL hockey. It really is. They're giving you your shot to win big as well. New customers can bet just $1 on any NHL team, get $150 in free bets if they win. That's right. A bump in the win column for your team means free bets for you. If DraftKings Sportsbook isn't available in your state yet, you still have a shot to light the lamp. Everyone can play for huge cash prizes with DraftKings daily fantasy hockey contests. DraftKings is giving all new customers a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes with their first deposit. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code THPN. Bet just $1 on any NHL team and get $150 in free bets if they win. That's promo code THPN at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. Must be 21 years of age or older. Must reside in a DraftKings Sportsbook state. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Sign up for an account and use the promo code THPN. All right. Great stuff on a Wednesday. We'll wrap it up now with best bets. Alex, what do you like for best bet?
Yeah, let's go right back to the Ducks. Laying $1.20. That's my best bet here. Like I said, I think this is definitely going to be a game that, like I said, that they're going to remember what happened with the last time they played the Hawks, and I think the revenge will be fresh in their minds. They try to stop this losing streak at home on national TV. This is definitely a step up spot for them, and I think it's going to be kind of the beginning of the decline the rest of the way for the Hawks. So with Anaheim Ducks is my best bet tonight.
All right, Anaheim -120 against Chicago. Best bet for Alex B. Smith. And while you're betting the side is Alex's best bet, you can bet the total in that game for my best bet. Chicago, Anaheim over 6, -110. That'll be my best bet. Again, you got two teams. It's like playing for exercise. I love these late season situations, and I don't expect anybody to go above and beyond the Call of Duty to block a shot, not with where these two teams are in the standings. Neither one playing well defensively, and it's going to be bad, I think, for Anaheim defensively, and worse now, minus Manson and Hampus Lindholm, two big minutes guys on the back end for them, and you saw the effect of those two guys both being not on the team anymore for the first time against Nashville, giving up a 6 spot out of the Predators on Monday night. I think we see goals in bunches both ways. Chicago, Anaheim over 6 for my best bet on this Wednesday card. And that'll wrap up this edition of the Ice Guys. Thanks to everyone in the chat for joining us. Appreciate all the well wishes for safe travels. I certainly hope to be arriving in San Antonio tomorrow afternoon, safe and sound. Looking forward to that. Alex B. Smith, Andrew McInnis, the rest of the crew will have you covered for the next 2 days. I will be back on Saturday. Vito will be on with me on the weekends, as he always is as well. So we've got you covered here. We'll still have shows tomorrow and Friday, even though I will not be on. So make sure you stay tuned 7 days a week to the Ice Guys. And a reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday and Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms: Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and iHeartRadio. Download the Ice Guys podcast when you can't watch the show live. For Alex P. Smith, I'm Ian Cameron. I'm off to San Antonio. Can't wait. Looking forward to it. Have a great rest of the week. I will see you Saturday, but make sure you join Alex and company back tomorrow, Friday as well, for the Ice Guys. They've got you covered 7 days a week right here, presented by the Hockey Podcast Network.